is Phil Njwaha. I will be your program director this morning. We are almost ready to start. We will be inviting our dignitaries who are going through the exhibitions, and they are now ready to join us. So when they come, I'll ask you to stand and remain standing. We will then take the national anthem. I suspect this beautiful choir that has rendered the good music will lead us, and then we will be ready with the program. So you can relax for half a second, and then after that, as they walk in, I'll ask you to stand, and then we'll remain standing, and we'll start with the national anthem. Are you all okay, though? Did you travel well, who come from afar? And those who are coming from here, did you enjoy the rain? Okay, all right. Please stand. The dignitaries are joining us. There's seats in the front. Okay. May I request that we remain standing and then immediately invite the Univen Music Choir to lead us in the national anthem. And then after that, I'll ask us to remain standing for a couple of minutes. Over to you. Thanks very much. May we remain standing if you want to pray, you can pray, meditate. This is the time to do so for about half a second, please. Thank you very much. You may be seated. Thank you very much. I am Phil Mjwaha, the Director General in the Department of Science and Innovation. I'll be facilitating the proceedings this morning. On the program, it says I should give you some background to the event. I'll try and do that in a minute or so. We host this event every year, and we launch the Science Week, and as it says, it's a Science Week in a province that we choose. We rotate in all of the provinces. So this year, it's the chance for this province to host the launch of the Science Week, and I hope the province is very, very excited. And from the meeting that we had earlier on to brief the leadership of the university, as well as the stakeholders of the university, I could see the enthusiasm. So we are also extremely delighted to be hosting the event here in Limpopo. And then this is the start of a range of activities for the week to try and excite the public about the importance of science in our lives and in their lives, and also to try and excite the young people, most importantly, to follow careers in science. And therefore, we hope we will have some messages of support and messages encouraging the public and the young people to follow careers in science. But it's not me who's going to do that. We have a range of speakers that are going to share their views on this. But I do like to first apologize that the minister is not able to be with us physically, but he will address us remotely, and I'll just check with Buhle at the time because he had travel arrangement problems. He couldn't take off. He was going to fly this morning. He could take off, but he couldn't land because the landing strip here doesn't have the latest technology to allow him to land in the weather conditions that we have today. So again, the importance of science and technology, but also because of science and technology, we will still be able to hear him. Isn't it wonderful that we have this science and technology? So apologize upfront for him. I'm aware that we're also joined by the chair of council here and the council members of the university, so we acknowledge them. I'm also been alerted that there is traditional leadership that is with us today, and we acknowledge them. The Vice Chancellor and the entire leadership of the university, we acknowledge them. My fellow DG from Higher Education and Training, Dr. Sishi, and the entire team from DHET, they're also here. And then the chair of the National Research Foundation Board, Professor Musa, I think I saw him, yes, he's here, with some board members of the National Research Foundation. The reason why I have to make sure he's here is because this function is coordinated by SASTA. So if I don't acknowledge him, he will pull the plug out of the money that we need for us to be together here. So I'm extremely grateful to the chair of the board. He's of course with the CEO of the NRF, Dr. Fulufelo Nelomondo. I saw the deputy CEO as well, and there may be other members of the NRF that are with us to innovation that I'm extremely proud of, and they are all spread around here, and the entire staff. I'm also wary of not acknowledging the exhibitors. The exhibitors play a very, very important role. We can talk about science, but if you can actually see a couple of stands around here and some scientific activities and what they mean, we are forever grateful to them. They take time to come here and spend time with us. And then the other important stakeholders that I think we should always acknowledge. Without them, we wouldn't have the the Science Week. It's the learners. Are they here? Why are they quiet? Learners? Yes. Okay, I had a very, very small scream, which means they are here. I will probably acknowledge other colleagues that are going to be speaking. I may also request a rejig of the program a little bit, Vice Chancellor, because as you know, the Minister is sitting at the airport to do this. So what I would like to request, Butle, I don't know, where is she? How quickly we can connect. Maybe we will ask the Vice Chancellor to welcome us, because I can see we're not sitting comfortably because we've not been welcomed. Then maybe invite Councillor Dowelani Nenguda, the Executive Mayor of Vembe, also to speak, and then invite the Minister immediately. In the meantime, we'll just get the connection going so that he can address us and we can see him on the screen. So without further ado, then, may we bring the Vice Chancellor of Univen, Dr. Bernard Tambeleni, with a warm round of applause, please. I suspect these hands are cold. They are not warm enough. A bit more.
Thank you. Thank you, DG. Executive Mayor of the Vembe District Municipality, Councillor Dowelani Nenguda, Member of the Portfolio Committee on Higher Education, Science and Innovation, Honorable Debo Holitsie, Member of the Portfolio Committee on Higher Education, Science and Innovation, Honorable Bafuze Yabo, the Director General of the Department of Science and Innovation, Dr. Phil Mujwaha, and the Director General of the Department of the Higher Education and Training, Dr. Nkosinati Sishi, the Chairperson of the University of Venda Council, Mr. Junius Lichet, members of the Univen Executive Committee of Council that are here, the President of the Convocation of the University of Venda, Mr. Sylvester Mutadi, Mayor of Collins Chabane, Local Municipality, Councillor Maluleke, Mayor of Musina, Local Municipality, Councillor Godfrey Mawera, members of the Executive and Senior Management of the University of Venda, our esteemed Royal Leadership, Tovele Womaira Sumba Kennedy Media Batu Chivase, Tovele Bontumeni Masia, Tovele Wogole Musiwa Mpapuri, Tovele Bosintumule, Tovele Bonesengani, Tovele Boramova, represented here by Bavenda Boramova, Osinkulu Njaganjaga, represented by Mr. G. Ntaveni, and also the representative of Kosi Rambud. Portfolio Head, Corporate Services of the Vembe District Municipality, Council N.R. Matuka, Portfolio Head for the Community Services at the Vembe District Municipality, Councillor T.J. Bila, Vembe District Municipality Manager, Mr. Z.N. Kutama, Tulamela Local Municipality Manager, Mr. Makumule, Collins Chabane Local Municipality Manager, Mr. R.R. Shilenge, Musina Local Municipality Manager, Mr. N. Chiwanambi, Musina Local Municipality Speaker, Ms. E. Shirilel, Musina Local Municipality Chief Whip, Mr. F. Mafela, Deputy Vice Chancellor for Research and Innovation at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, Professor Musama Shavela, the Chief Executive Officer of the National Research Foundation, Dr. Furupero Neromondo, Managing Director of the South African Agency for Science and Technology Advancement, Dr. Mamueletsi Mosia, Chief Executive Officer of AgriCita, Dr. Innocent Siroba. Deputy CEO of the National Research Foundation, Dr. Clifford Ngomani. Department of Education District Director, Mr. Shumani Rawanzo. Deputy Principal of the Bembe Tibet College, Ms. Muburawa Boy. Bembe East and West Senior District Managers, school principals and educators, Apostle Maxwell Masakon of the Calvary Church, Reverend N.L. Mudau of the Church of the Holy Ghost, my wife and partner, Ms. Rosanin Tambeleni, University of Venda staff and students, President of the SRC, Gudani Chairman of the entire leadership of the SRC, learners from the selected schools, donors and sponsors and partners, media practitioners, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Machero. Aushe. On behalf of the management and staff of the University of Venda, it is my great honor and privilege to extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to each of you as we gather here at the University of Venda to launch the National Science Week 2023 campaign. The University of Venda has been long a beacon of hope, a place where dreams take flight and futures are shaped. The University of Venda stands tall as a testament to the power of education to transform the lives of people and empower individuals to make positive impact in societies. Located within the UNESCO Vembe Biosphere Reserve with a unique rich biodiversity, which offers a university a remarkable advantage to leverage the region's rich biodiversity and unique environmental context for the development of the relevant and impactful program qualifications for our students. This strategic location presents a myriad of opportunities that align with the communities and also our needs for entrepreneurial aspirations. As our position statement to our current strategic plan, we envision the University of Venda that has impact and relevance as an institution of higher learning. It signifies that the university is not only focused on academic excellence, but also aims to be relevant and responsive to the needs and the challenges of the communities around it. Our view of the university is that university must become catalyst for building what we call inclusive societies, and that they should also play their role as an anchor institutions in the process of social change and development where they're located. Key to this is our multifaceted collaboration involving the municipalities, the private businesses, international partnerships, grassroots organizations, local and traditional councils, civic organizations, and government departments and other entities to amplify the impact and the reach of the university, leading to a more holistic approach to a community engagement and development. Program Director, the University of Venda is cognizant that the primary goal of the National Science Week campaign is, among others, to make science accessible and exciting, engaging, and encouraging to learners to embrace science and its application in our daily lives, and fostering a culture of scientific curiosity and discovery for our nation. As one of the 6 comprehensive universities in South Africa, the University of Venda continually strives to deliver teaching, research, and community engagement of the highest quality for its citizens. The University of Venda topped the list amongst the comprehensive universities in South Africa with the highest headcount enrollment numbers in the sciences, mathematics, and health sciences programs. 45% of our total headcount enrollment is in the faculties of sciences, science, engineering, and agriculture, and also the health sciences. 35% is enrolled in the Faculty of Humanities, Social Science and Education, and while 20% is enrolled in the Faculty of Management, Commerce and Law. Our ministerial target for the academic staff with PhD in 2022 was 40%, and currently 44% of our academic staff have PhDs, and the university participates in several staff doctoral programs that are funded jointly by the Department of Higher Education and Training and the international partners through the University Staff Development Program. Over the past few years, the University of Venda has seen substantial increase in its research outputs. We continue to provide the best tertiary education and produce quality graduates that are capable to compete with their peers both locally and internationally. The University of Venda contributes enormously to the socio-economic development, not only of this province, but to the entire country by producing well-rounded graduates. Many of our graduates occupy strategic leadership positions in both private and public sector in the country. And as management, we understand that the standing of the university is often determined and measured by the quality of its output, which includes factors such as the academic performance of our students, the research publications, the faculty expertise, alumni achievement, and also the contributions to society. These factors collectively contribute to a university's reputation and ranking in the academic community. We are pleased to report that the University of Venda is making good progress in academic project. Just in 2022, last year the university was ranked as one of the best 15 universities in South Africa by the Times Higher Education World University Rankings. Recently in 2023, the Times Higher Education Sub-Saharan Africa ranked the University of Venda 11th out of the 88 institutions of the best university in the Sub-Saharan Africa. The Times Higher Education Sub-Saharan Ranking measures the institution's performance across the 4 areas, namely the teaching, research, knowledge transfer, and international outlook. This recognition is a testament to the hard work and the commitment of the university staff and students. In our determination to impact our surrounding communities, we are grateful of the generous donation by the Zenex Foundation, which led to the establishment of the Vuani Science Resource Center in 2000. Similarly, in 2005, the Department of Science and Technology then contributed 1 million rand towards the construction of the exhibition hall and additional laboratories at the Vuani Science Resource Center. The location of Vuani Science Resource Center is in the heart of communities and holds immense significance and potential for promoting scientific literacy and fostering a passion for learning within the local population. By being situated in the middle of communities, the Science Resource Center is easily accessible to learners and educators and has direct positive impact on the learners from these rural, disadvantaged local schools where they've got no science equipment and proper laboratories to conduct their experiments. The utilization of the Vuani Science Resource Center by the University of Venda demonstrates our strong commitment to promoting scientific education and engagement with rural schools to contribute to enhancement of this scientific literacy and inspiring a passion for learning among learners in the district. Program Director, we are proud as the University of Venda that through the Vuani Science Resource Center, we were the overall winner of the NSTF South 32 Awards, Science Communication Award for the year 2021-2022, competing in the same category with Nelson Mandela University, University of Pretoria, South African Astronomical Observatory, University of Witwatersrand, University of Western Cape, and University of Stellenbosch. Congratulations to the team led by Professor Eric Maruta for this well-deserved achievement. As far as our infrastructure is concerned, the university is witnessing expansion of a new infrastructure that is developing on campus. We are thankful of the support from the Department of Higher Education and Training, and through this support, the university is able to make meaningful contribution to its academic project. The growth of the infrastructure facilities on campus shows that the university is investing in its development and improving the overall learning environment for our students. This infrastructural enhancement will lead to a more enriching academic experience and contribute to the university's continued success. Plans are underway to increase more lecture theaters, staff offices, decent staff accommodation, and the establishment of the University of Venda Makado Satellite Campus and various staff and student amenities. The following projects were completed in 2022 and 2023 respectively. The Faculty of Humanities, Social Science and Education building was completed in January 2022. The 900 beds Mvelapanda female residence was completed in January 2022. 900 beds Mvelapanda male residence was also completed in January 2023. The Health Science building was supposed to be officially opened this morning by the minister, but we're going to make plans for the minister to also open this building in 2023. The University of Venda perimeter fencing was also completed beginning of July this month. Tailored facilities for students that are living with disabilities will be completed by the end of August 2023. The Punda Maria new road and gate to the university has commenced in February 2023, and also the renovations and extension of the main administration building has commenced in February 2023. Program Director, we are most grateful for the support that we always receive from the Department of Education and Training, and also the Department of Science and Innovation, and the entities that are attached to these two departments. As I conclude, allow me to express our deepest appreciations to all the participants, volunteers and organizers, and let me thank all for partnering with us in this journey of scientific exploration and celebration. We are confident that we will make this National Science Week 2023 a memorable and transformative experience for everyone involved. I thank you.
Thanks very much to the Vice Chancellor for reminding us of the role of the university and where it's located and the role that it's played to support development around the area. And also to congratulate you and the rest of the leadership, the council, and the rest of your executive for the achievements that I think the university has indicated. And I think this is in line with the comments that the minister made this morning around not seeing this university as just a glorified high school. So congratulations to its great achievement in terms of the scientific research outputs, student output, as well as community engagement. And we are grateful to the support that you're providing to the science centers around here to provide science literacy. So we are extremely grateful for the work that you do. So now I would like to keep looking at Buhle to check. I don't want to keep the minister too long because, as I said, he can't be with us, so he's waiting in the lounge in Joburg to address us. So as soon as we are ready, Buhle, please let me know. But I just want to continue with my acknowledgements. Okay, he's ready. I'd like then to come back to the further acknowledgements that I want to make. And then with your permission, and I apologize profusely, Councillor Doelani, but I'm sure you'd be kind enough to allow the Minister to address us so we can release him and then we'll continue with the program. So, Butle, I don't know how this is going to be done. If he's ready, I'd like to then hand over to the Minister.
Program Director and our DG of the Department of Science and Innovation, Dr. Philip Jwaha, the Executive Mayor of Vembe District, Councillor Nenguda Doelani, members of Parliament and the Portfolio Committee who are present with us here, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Venda, Dr. Bernard Ntambeleni, and your Executive Committee, the Director General of the Department of Higher Education and Training, Dr. Nkosinathi Sish, the CEO of the National Research Foundation, Professor Fulufelo Nelwamondo, Managing Director of SASTA, Dr. Mamuele Etzimosia, members of the University Council, senior government official, national, provincial, and local, academics and students, school principals, educators, school governing bodies, and learners who are our special guests indeed today. Distinguished guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, Dimacheroni, Avsheni, Dumelang, good morning. I'm honored today to be joining you today as we launch the National Science Week 2023 under the theme, Building a Culture of Evidence-Based Practice. The National Science Week will run from the 31st of July till the 5th of August throughout our country. What also makes this launch extraordinarily momentous is that it is taking place in the month marking the 105th birthday of our former president, Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. Personally, I'm always inspired by one of Madiba's quotes, especially the one that states, I quote, "It always seems impossible until it is done." The quote is about encouraging people to pursue their aspirations, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges or adversity. South Africa and the entire world has challenges which needs us to expeditiously advance science, technology, and innovation. As we're all aware, or most of us at least, environmental pollution, climate change, poverty, inequality, and global public health crises are posing severe challenges to humanity today. South Africa is currently considered one of the most technologically advanced countries in the African continent and was rated the most innovative region in sub-Saharan Africa in the 2022 Global Innovation Index. We continue to advance our position amongst the world's scientifically and technologically advanced countries, and we are working hard to profile our scientific achievements. In 2022, South Africa was ranked number 69 in innovation inputs and number 61 in innovation outputs. This is an achievement that we must all celebrate today as we launch the National Science Week. Ladies and gentlemen, as a Department of Science and Innovation, we have committed ourselves to using science, technology, and innovation as a catalyst for faster and inclusive economic growth. In the short and longer term, as per our National Development Plan, we are also committed to building the science and technology pipeline and to broaden representativeness in science and technology, making sure that young people, women, and people with disabilities are mainstreamed in science-related careers and education levels at all levels. I dare say it is not science unless it takes along people with disabilities. This is one of the reasons we host the annual National Science Week as part of our efforts to contribute to the development of a society that is knowledgeable and about science and critically engages on science, technology, and innovation. This year, the South African Agency for Science and Technology Advancement, which is a unit of our entity, the National Research Foundation, will continue to award grants to various organizations, public, private, and non-governmental, who will carry out activities to popularize science across South Africa and promote science literacy during the Science Week. I therefore want to make a call to all our learners that no one should be left out of the solution-driven national discourse that speaks to the value of science in our lives and for our future. Our National Science Week is to demonstrate, amongst others, the usefulness of science, but also to encourage especially our youth and learners to participate in the multiplicity of science activities that helps to generate us to understand better science itself and the role of science. As you may know, SASTA, that is our Agency for Science and Technology Advancement, also hosts various competitions such as the Astro Quiz, which is aimed at grade 7 learners based on themes around astronomy, the Fame Lab, which is one of the biggest science communications competitions in the world, the National Schools Debates, which is the competition that gives learners an opportunity to develop their research, critical thinking, and information literacy skills, the National Science Olympiad, which is a competition that comprises an annual examination in science, especially physical and life sciences, Natural Science Olympiad, an annual written examination comprising of questions set by field experts in natural sciences, South African Science Lens, another platform, which is a competition that allows learners to capture stunning, dramatic, spectacular images related to science and technology. And lastly, another platform is the Young Science Communicators Competition, which challenges young scientists and researchers to communicate their world to a larger audience. Wow. Maybe let me repeat my apologies for that. That, as you may know, SASTA, which is our Agency for Science and Technology Advancement, also hosts various competitions, such as the Astro Quiz,
Seems we're
aimed at grade 7 learners based on themes around astronomy, the Fame Lab, which is one of the biggest science communications competition in the world, the National Schools Debates, which is the competition that gives learners an opportunity to develop their research, critical thinking, and information literacy skills, the National Science Olympiad, which is a competition comprising an annual examination in science, Natural Science Olympiad, an annual written examination comprising of questions set by field experts in natural sciences, and another platform, the South African Science Lens, which is a competition that allows learners to capture stunning, dramatic, spectacular images related to science and technology. And lastly, the Young Science Communicators Competition, which challenges young scientists and researchers to communicate their world to a larger audience. I therefore want to encourage learners to participate in these competitions in order for them to improve their science knowledge and understanding. Today, we've seen the level of interaction between scientists and the public at the exhibition center. These are very important. Having considered that engaging the public is not a natural skill amongst our researchers, we have committed through the 2019 White Paper on Science, Technology, and Innovation to collaborate with our universities to establish appropriate training programs in science, which is another very important platform in science engagement. I'm glad to inform you that the first such program that the Department of Science and Innovation initiated has begun in the current academic year at the University of Limpopo. The department is providing seed funding in the first 3 years of the program, and as we speak, there are 42 students registered to this fully accredited postgraduate diploma in science communication. This qualification offers basic science communication skills to scientists and knowledge brokers in journalism, education, and traditional science awareness at places such as museums and science centers. I have learned that one of the past students, Professor Eric Maluta, is now a head of department at this university, Univen. His commitment to public engagement with science also earned him the 2022 National Science and Technology Forum Communication Award. The award is bestowed to those who show exceptional contributions to the sharing and promotion of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics through innovative and remarkable programs and approaches. Program Director, ladies and gentlemen, our endeavors to foster public engagement with research, to advance evidence-based decision-making and practice should, however, go beyond traditional science communication approaches. It is for this reason that my Department of Science and Innovation is focusing its efforts on creating an enabling environment for citizen science as a means for the co-creation of new knowledge between researchers and members of the public. Our aim is to see researchers collaborate with citizens at different stages of a research project. It could be before the project, when citizens and researchers define the research problems and questions together, during the project, or when citizens play a role as per research methodology, or post-project when citizens and the researchers jointly disseminate and engage the research results. There are currently 7 such projects that are coordinated by the South African Agency for Science and Technology Advancement. 6 of them are each based at different universities that draw their citizen scientists from their local communities. One such project is a collaborative research initiative between school learners and researchers from the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. There are 2 exciting developments within this space of citizen science. That is MeerKAT, which is a precursor to the Square Kilometre Array project in the Northern Cape, which is due to release the second data set after the first was only released abroad. This data set is what the MeerKAT is finding in terms of its own role in astronomy and sharing this data generally with citizens. I am pleased to announce that systems have been put in place to establish the MeerKAT Citizen Science Initiative, in which members of the public will participate in the analysis of this second data set. Internationally, the Global Science Forum of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the OECD, has established what is referred to as the Expert Group on Citizen Science. South Africa, through my Department of Science and Innovation, is the only African country among the 17 countries working together towards global policy guidelines to promote citizen engagement in the production of scientific knowledge. Indeed, our National Science Week is a week of citizen engagement on matters of science, technology, and innovation. Our focus, of course, would be misplaced if we only talk about the production of new knowledge, public access to it and its utilization, without paying much attention to the supply of skilled researchers. The reason we requested the presence of school principals today, and by the way, in all of our National Science Weeks and other educators, is because I have a special message and request to deliver to you today. You are the officials who are at the coalface of the production of the raw materials for building a pipeline for research human resources. The learner from Tengwe Secondary School, Uyachila Mnenyiwa, is exemplary because she has what it takes to produce and supply these raw materials. She earlier presented a project that won her the South African Youth Water Prize 2023 at a provincial level. It would be in order to give this learner a huge round of applause. I plead with all our principals and teachers to improve efforts in making sure that more learners in your schools take part in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and innovation Olympiads and the competitions and exhibitions that I have already mentioned. This is very important. In fact, every good principal must encourage his or her school and their learners to participate in these competitions. Research indicates that science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and innovation Olympiads and fairs are useful in developing problem-solving, creative, computational, communication, and innovation skills, which are among the skills that are important even for the future type of work and jobs that we are going to be having in the wake of new technologies. So these competitions also prepare our learners for future job opportunities and other activities of sustainable livelihood. I also would like to say, in particular to the principals and the teachers in mathematics and science, it is counterproductive to discourage your learners from choosing mathematics, as many school principals are doing, thinking that is the best way for their schools to produce better results by avoiding the purportedly or the supposedly difficult mathematics. Please don't do this, because in many ways, by so doing, we are looking down upon the potential of our learners and young people to do mathematics and science. In fact, one of the reasons for our science engagement is to demystify maths and science, is to make our youth and learners not to be afraid of maths and science, is to encourage them to engage and in fact find out how exciting maths and science is. Let the National Science Week be a turning point.
Butle, can you check with the ministry, indicate that we've lost a few seconds because of load shedding, so that he could finish his speech. If you again, please give us a few seconds.
Did a while.
Yeah.
Can you hear me, DG, and the audience?
Yes, we can hear you, Minister. Thank you.
All right, let me move then towards touching on the last few brief points. I was towards ending. I want to say that officials from my department and our agency for science, technology, are willing to assist you as the schools with relevant links and other details in order to promote science engagement. Our heavy investment of public funds into research, particularly basic research at public universities, makes us expect also that new research knowledge should be taken to the public and opportunities be created for members of the public to collaborate with researchers in the production of new knowledge. We continue to spend handsomely to incentivize and encourage research as well as science, technology, and innovation. Universities have a special role to play also in promoting research and also being part of this citizen engagement on science. I want to urge universities therefore, that they establish systems that will enable their researchers to exchange their research knowledge with the public, because we do not see any other effective means to encourage the potential utilization of their research. We expect our universities to do this in any case, as part of their responsibility. Without research utilization, we can forget the goal of getting any closer to significant societal impacts of research and science. As I conclude, DG, and honorable participants, I wish to thank the University of Venda under the leadership of Dr. Ntambeleni for not only agreeing to host this event, but also for being part of the organizing team and participating in the event. To the executive mayor of the Venda district, who is representing the Limpopo government as well, your support is well aligned with the cooperative governance constitutional obligations, which I appreciate very much. I also wish to thank all our exhibitors and each and every one of you who have joined us today, both physically as well as virtually. With these words, I declare National Science Week 2023 officially launched. Come 31st July 2023, the only noise in the country that we would like to hear should be a noise about science. I thank you all.
Thanks very much, Minister, for your 5 clear messages. The first one reminding us of the theme for this Science Week, which is transforming lives through evidence-based science. And then also just to remind us on the improvements in the national system of innovation in terms of research outputs and the innovation outputs, and that this is in line with the quote from the former late President Mandela, that you think it's never possible until it's done, something like that. And then the unwavering support that you continue to demonstrate and wish to demonstrate to this university. I'm sure the Vice Chancellor and the rest of the community has heard that. And then to the principals and the schools about the invitation to work with SASTA on the programs that are available to encourage young people to follow careers in science. And again, I hope Professor Mashabela and Professor Fulufelo, they see the role of SASTA, and I suspect the budget might go up a little bit. So MD, the evidence is all over, so you can go and ask for more money on the basis of the passion that the minister has. But thank you very much, Minister. We really appreciate this, and also for staying a little longer at the airport lounge to give this message through this virtual platform. So with your permission then, I'm happy to invite Councillor Doelani Nenguda, who's an executive mayor of Venda District Municipality, where the university is located. He will be representing the Limpopo government on behalf of the Premier, who could not attend this morning. So a round of applause for Councillor Doelani. I'm still not sure these hands are warm, but okay.
Thank you very much, Program Director, for granting me this opportunity to convey remarks on behalf of Limpopo government, and also receive our sincere gratitude from the member of the Executive Council who is responsible for education in Limpopo, Honorable Bumabunguru Ruri Ramakanya, who was supposed to be here with us. Program Director, Dr. Phil Mjwara, the Minister of Higher Education, Science and Technology, Dr. Blade Zimande, Vice Chancellor and Principal of the University of Venda, Dr. Bernard Ntambeleni, members of Council, Your Royal Highnesses in attendance, zikhulu noni zote zine zawapano. I can see Votobere, Umidia Batuchibase, it's here. I can see Votobere, Bonesengani, it's here. I can see Votobere, Golden Purple is here. And also Votobere, Masia is here. I must also recognize other royal leaders in our midst. Kari Barumerise, Mausi Bashu, Votobere Bashu, Down Kakamere. Chafuka na chawazi. Really wo. Professor Samson Mamkeri and other professors in our midst, the executive management of the University of Venda and the University of Limpopo, academic and non-academic officials, learners from our various schools, students from all our tertiary institutions within our province, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, ndi khobaru medisa machironi ano, ndi machironi, dumelang, abushe. We are honored as a province to once again host the Minister of Higher Education in our province. We acknowledge and appreciate the efforts by the Honorable Minister, Dr. Blade Zimande, as you crisscross the country addressing and attending to serious matters affecting higher education. On Tuesday of the past week, as Limpopo government, we spent the day with you, Honorable Minister, at Mashishimale in Palabura, where you handed over a house to the Malachi family as part of the Nelson Mandela Community Service Crusade. I must indicate that it is rare for a minister leading such a huge department to visit and spend 2 days in one province within such a short period of time. Your commitment to the development of the country and the future of our learners is commendable, Honorable Minister. I must also appreciate that you are back again in the province, not just for an ordinary visit, but to launch a very special week in our calendar. The National Science Week is very key to all our institutions of learning, from the Early Childhood Development Foundation, intermediate and the tertiary level. We now all know that technology is the driving force of our economy, and as a country, we are aligning accordingly to ensure that our children are alive to the current innovations. We have always preached about the fourth industrial revolution that is coming to expedite and change how we do things. It is no longer a far-fetched phenomenon. It is a reality that has dawned and needs all of us to embrace. Honorable Minister, Dr. Nzimande, we appreciate that our children, who in majority are from poor and disadvantaged backgrounds, will get an opportunity to celebrate this very special week. But they will celebrate it with the understanding of what science is about and how they can contribute to change the world. They are fortunate that at their level, they have a caring government that is prepared to sponsor their education at no cost. I repeat, they have a caring government that is prepared to sponsor their education at no cost. A lot has been said about the importance of National Science Week. We have seen exhibitors demonstrating the innovation that come with science. We hope and believe that what we are seeing today will serve as a motivation to our children to pursue careers in the maths and science fields. Once again, we want to appreciate and thank the Department of Higher Education and Training for the experience, and I have no doubt that the effort will change and improve the lives of our children. Honorable Minister, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we have 2 universities, of course, here in Limpopo, and a number of TVET colleges within our province. The skills coming from both these universities and the colleges must be of quality that is needed to take the country forward. We are proud of the products that we continuously celebrate as the province. We need more, and not just quantity, but skilled young men and women with a vast interest in science and technology. Kawa bo Vice Chancellor bo Ntambeleni and your team, as a province, as Member District Municipality, we really appreciate the sterling work you are doing. We can see the development within these premises. It's an indication that you're really serious when it comes to the education of our people, education of our learners. Keep it up. All we request as the province is your continuous support and proper monitoring. The development that we are witnessing, that we are seeing, needs all of us to work as a team in making sure that we achieve our dreams, our vision, and so on. I really want to thank you all for being part of this August, event, which is part of our history as Member District Municipality. Riaribuwa, Inkom. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor. The role of Science Week, the support of the Minister to the province. We've heard that he was in Palaboro recently, and he would have been here today. The role of science and innovation development, including the likely impact of 4IR to all of us as society, and then the key message to the learners. And also, like last message of support by the local and provincial leadership to support the university. Because we have behaved very well with time, I thought we would ask the choir. Some of you didn't get the opportunity to listen to this wonderful choir, to invite the choir back, so it gives us a little bit of a break in between, and then we'll continue with the program. Conductor, 1 song or 2 songs? Maybe 2? Two, okay. We can give them the warmer round of applause now. Thanks very much to the choir. And the reason why I asked them to come to the front is that in my younger days at the university, Vice Chancellor, I ran away from the choir practice because I couldn't stand reading the notes with the do, re, mi, fa, so. So I know how much passion goes into producing such good music. So another round of applause then for the... I think we're doing very well with time. I want to continue with my acknowledgements. I saw that Professor Vice Chancellor did acknowledge the portfolio committee members, Honorable Siyabo and Letsie. I think we're also joined by the CEO of the Human Sciences Research Council, Professor Sarah Mosuetsa, I saw her earlier on. And then there are three colleagues that I also want to acknowledge, but I'd like them to stand as I acknowledge them. Professor Mampueli Samson is sitting here. I didn't see the CEO of the National Space Agency, Humbrani Mdau. Is he here? Maybe not. And then Professor Kangwelo Musetso is also here. And the reason why I'm asking them to stand is that these are academics and CEOs who come from the area. So it is possible in this area to produce the likes of them. They are playing an important role outside, but I also have committed them to a task. We will share with you, Vice Chancellor and Councillor, what the task is, but I can tell you it's going to change this region if we can do it right with the resources that we have at our disposal. Okay? So I've committed you in public, so you can't let me down. All right, thanks very much. So we will now move on with the program and invite Uyachila Munenyiwa, who is the winner of the Water and Sanitation Project. She's one of the recipients of the Grassroots Innovation Project, and she will tell us more about what this is, but I can tell you it's a wonderful presentation. So please, let's bring her up with a great round of applause. Now that you've had the choir, now that you've been warmed up, I'm sure you can really, now the hands are warmer, much warmer.
I would like to greet the minister, even though he's not. As I was saying, I would like to greet the minister, even though he's not here with us physically. He addressed us. So I would like to say, on behalf of everyone here, we appreciate him taking his time and sacrificing and actually addressing us. And I noticed that there are many dignitaries here, so all protocols observed. And the reason why I will continue and introduce myself is because I saw a little typo there on the program. So if you want to know my real name, just remove the Y. Yeah, it's Uyachila Munenyiwa. And I'm a grade 11 learner from Tengwe High School. I'm very proud of my school, yeah. And thank you. And I'm here for a reason and one reason only, and that is I'm here to share with you my experience and my big idea. So this is the backstory of the project, right? So ever since I was young, I always knew I wanted to make an impact, even though I'm still 16, but ever since I was young, yeah. And the problem that I had is that I didn't know any programs that would help me to actually do what I wanted to do. So I'm quite interested in science, technology, and engineering. So that's when the Department of Water and Sanitation came at our school and then workshopped us on the 24th of January 2023. So they introduced us to the various projects that they run. So they run the South African Youth Water Prize, which focuses more on invention and innovation. And they also have the public speaking, which is more of like debate. And then they also have Aqua Enduro, which is academic intensive. So they started telling us about these programs that they run. They started with the South African Youth Water Prize. And for the other two programs, I didn't even listen because I felt like I found what I wanted, innovation and invention. So I said, okay, I'm gonna enter this competition. So now the challenge started. But how? because they wanted you to identify a problem in your community or school and solve that problem. So you had to find the problem. Identifying the problem is easy, but actually coming with a solution is not. So I investigated, so there's a sanitation crisis at our school. So what I mean by that is there's load shedding, which is also something that I'm working towards on solving in my projects. So there's load shedding and which causes water sheddings. So when there's no electricity, there won't be a reliable water supply to the toilets. So I was like, I'll solve this problem for this for this program. So it had 3 aspects. So it had the powering system, the water system, and the chemical aspect of things. And as for the chemical aspect, I was helped here at Univen. Can we please give them a round of applause? So as for the powering system, I used renewable energy. I used photovoltaic solar panels in order to power the whole system. And then for the water systems, to ensure that there was reliable water supply, I thought, okay, so the municipality supplies water to the community, but sometimes there's no water, and we know that South Africa is a water scarce country, and then we have not tapped into the water from underground. So I was like, how can we ensure that there is always a reliable water supply? So borehole water, river water, and rainwater. Wait. I know that there are other areas where there is no river and there are no rains. But what I'm trying to say is that, what if we harness the water from each and every source that is there in that country, so that, not country, but that area, in that area, so that we can ensure that there is a reliable water supply. After all, sanitation is dignity. And moving on to the chemical aspect of things, so there are many advanced cleaning detergents here, but I found one loophole, which was that they are not low cost and effective in terms of cleaning for schools and public toilets. So it needs manual labor. I was like, how can we use another chemical that is both low cost and yet effective and cleans and eradicates smells every time an individual or a learner flushes the toilet? So that is when I decided to use sodium hypochlorite. So as I said, I got help here from the university. So that is how the whole project was. So I went there at the South African Youth Water Prize. The competition was held on the 25th of April, 2023 at Mastec. So I went there and then I competed with schools from all over Limpopo, and then came out as position 1. Thank you. So we went there nationally. To be honest, it really opened a lot of doors, and then I saw that there are many opportunities in science. Yeah. So where is the project going? Well, right now I'm working on automating the whole system so that the person doesn't have to operate the system, and I'm making sure that everything in that system is solely dependent on renewable energy 24/7. Can you give me a round of applause? So I thought the minister would be here, and I was very eager to see him, but it felt nice hearing him say my name. So I was going to ask the minister to help me with patenting my ideas. As I've already said, that I was supposed to bring the prototype here, but the problem I had with that is that it's not patented. Yeah, it's not patented. So I want to patent this idea and the other one of solving load shedding. Yeah. So another thing I would like to emphasize is that to our fellow learners like me, is that learning should not end in the classroom. Because I always posted my WhatsApp status that mostly in science, I love physics. So I say physics is not there for you to study it and pass. Physics is there to guide you in asking the right questions so that you can better understand the universe that you live in and beyond. After all, science helps us. Science is curing the curiosity that we have. Yes, so that is how I see science. And then age should not be a limiting factor. Never. Because that's what I thought. I was like, okay, maybe I first have to go to university and study so that I can do something. But I saw that there are many opportunities for high school learners to actually grow themselves, because you will be mature. I get the spiritual maturity, there's physical maturity, but you'll be scientifically mature. When you go to university, if you enter the scientific competitions. So I saw Professor Neramondo Furupero here. He's such an inspiration. As it was already been said, he's the CEO of NRF. So I would like to humbly request him to establish science clubs at school. Because at school, sure, there are learners who get 80s and 90s, but there are also learners who get 50s and 60s, but that is not because they are incapable. That is because they simply don't have the platforms or the opportunities in order to apply the knowledge that they learn from the science classes. Thank you. South Africa, we have a lot of talent, to be honest. I won't lie. But the thing is, most people think that there are no opportunities, and the opportunities are endless. It's like you want to succeed, but you think that the success will come to you, and it doesn't work like that. The opportunities are there, you just have to look for them. So that is why I'm saying that opportunities should be handed to kids at school by establishing science clubs. Yeah. And, well, you might see me and think, she's talking here and she hasn't experienced any failures, because that was not the first project that I did. I've experienced many failures, even at my age. I'm here with my parents. They actually know, because they are the ones who are there when things are hard. Yeah. So there were many failures along the way, and I will count them to you, for you. Yeah. So there are programs that I applied to, both nationally and internationally. And guess what? All of them rejected me. There was a time where I was getting extremely low marks on science until my teacher, Ms. Ravuruma, she's here, I know for sure, made me fall in love with science, because I'm in love. It's a marriage, Evil. It's a marriage. So that's why I'm a strong believer that kids should be told why they are being taught things before they are actually being taught things. I think kids undermine science because they don't know the importance of science. Yeah. And so I told you that I always knew while growing up that I wanted to venture into science, technology, and engineering. But at grade 6, I started reading more finance and business books. So, because I wanted to do science, technology, and engineering, but more on the business side aspect of things. So I started reading finance books, and then did a lot of research on how I can contribute to the technology world at a very young age. So at age 13, when I was in grade 8, I decided that I wanted to learn how to code or to program. But the problem I had is that there were no resources. Like, our schools just teach to teach. There aren't any programming courses and whatnot. So I had that problem, but I was determined that I was going to teach myself programming. So my sister, she's a chartered accountant. My sister bought me a book. So I literally learned how to program the old way. So I was writing code on a paper. Yeah, I was writing code on a paper. So I started with Java, and then went on to Python. And then now I know, I think 4 languages, which is Python, Java, Flutter, and Swift. Yeah. And last year I entered a science expo in the theoretical physics category, where I was advancing the Newton's law of gravitation. And unfortunately, I was awarded a bronze medal, which I was not very content with. Yeah, I was awarded a bronze medal. And yeah, those are the failures that I've experienced along the way. No matter how many times you fail, you can never get used to failure. You will fail 20 times, but even the 21st time, you'll still be hurting. I know that there still will be many failures because I'm still young, but you learn from your failures than your successes. And I liked it better when Winston S. Churchill said that success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. So that is what I'm trying to say to learners, that we should go out there and put ourselves out there and solve global issues, and don't be afraid because of your age. You are more than capable. And lastly, I would like to say, I saw that there are many dignitaries here. I would like to say, if there are any people here who run programs nationally or international, call me, I'm always available. I'm always available. And if not, obviously I'm not available during school hours, so you can call my lovely teachers or my honorable principal, and I will attend to you. And after this event, if you would want me to enter in any programs that are of my interest, which is science, technology, and engineering, I would humbly ask you so that we can exchange numbers. And if not, I have an Instagram account. You can message me, and I'll answer in less than 24 hours. So, as I said, the name, you just remove the Y. It's Oachira Mnenyiwa. If you search it up, you'll find me, and I will attend to you. And I would like to leave you with a quote by my role model, who is Elon Musk. He says that you guys, each and every one of us here, we are the magicians of the 21st century. So don't let anything hold you back. Imagination is the limit. Go out there and create some magic. I thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Viachila. I also suspect that the DSI team may also want to work with you on how to take the idea forward, and the patenting. Dr. Moape is here in the room we will link you up with him, Professor Mampweli, as well, on how to take the idea forward. Thank you very much. May I then again invite Ms. Vutu Chilengo, who is an MSc student in astrophysics here. She will be speaking to us about a project called Thundercat, which is the image plane transients program for the Meerkat, our 64-dish array in Carnarvon. So a round of applause for Ms. Chilengo.
You know it?
Yeah. Yes, the same one. Which one is it? The first one? It's not the one.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, even the Director of Science. I thank you all, even the Vice Chancellor of the university. All right. Humbled to be given this opportunity to talk in this launch is for the first time giving a talk in such area. So what is it that I'm going to talk about? It's all about radio astronomy. So you can think about this here at University of Venda. How possible is it? Yes, I'm the first student in Masters who's registered here at University of Venda to deal with astronomy. I'm very proud of myself as a female candidate. This has all been possible with Professor Maruta, who is the HOD of the Department of Physics here at University of Venda. He's been supervising me for this work together with Professor Patrick from University of Cape Town. So this whole science, we take it from University of Cape Town and bring it here at University of Venda. It's all possible, Black child. So what I'm gonna say about is what you see, what we call when we say in astronomy. Basically on astronomy, we study about what our universe, we study about the stars, we study about the galaxies, we study about the planets, we study about all these things that happen in our universe. So on the radio astronomy, we all use what we call the radio waves. Is that we use it in a different way. We use it when you tune in on your radio station to listen, even the para-para. You also use it when you watch your television, those are waves. You also use it on your cell phone. But then here, when we come back to the science, that's where we study those objects in our universe, can be the stars, can be the galaxies, using what we call the radio frequency. So radio astronomy nowadays, we use what we call the radio telescope in order for us to come with the beauty of science. So in such a way that the radio, we have what we call the radio dishes. You can simply imagine your dish that we have for the TV is that in a kind of way. So what it does is that it reflects the incoming radio wave, then computer can process those signals to create an image that as an astronomer, we can able to analyze it. So This is the kind of a telescope which is situated here in South Africa in the Northern Cape province. The Meerkat telescope is the precursor of the SKA. So this telescope is operated by the SARAO. So it's the facility of the National Research Foundation and agent of the Department of Science and Innovation. It consists of 64 dishes, of 64 antennas. What is it that is different from the optical and the radio? Yes, as us as a woman being, we can able to observe or to see what we call a visible light. So the kind of light that we observe in this kind of astronomy, it's called an optical astronomy. So we as an astronomers, we observe and analyze light from the universe that follow from different wavelengths. That's the light that eyes as a woman we can able to detect. So women eye collect less light compared to what the telescope. So nowadays, just because we have what we call the telescope, we can able to detect or we can able to observe in the sky using this telescope. So even on the old days, we can say the science was there's that on the older days, you were not having enough instrument, or you were not having instrument to able to observe on the sky. You just use your eye and find, oh, there's a different kind of star there, or the planets that we can able to see. But now, just because of the technology that we have the instruments that we can able to detect those kind of lights. As we remember from the physics, we study about the electromagnetic spectrum. This is the kind of light that I was talking about, the visible light, where we have the different colors ranging from different wavelengths, where we can be able to detect, it can be a blue, red, yellow, according to different wavelengths. So it ranges from the longest wavelength to the shortest wavelength, where we have to understand that the wave, where we have the long wavelength will have a low energy, and that with the short wavelength will have a high energy. So even the energy from the sun and the other objects in our universe, it's traveled to Earth in wave that we call it an electromagnetic wave. So when you look on my topic, which we're dealing with it's all about the accretion of what? An outflow in accreting compact binaries. So when we're talking about the binary star, actually after the burst, in order for us to come up with this, we have to understand what's happening beyond the sky or in our universe. So accretion is more like there are material that have flown from one object to another. So in a binary star system, we have a normal star, which is also called a companion star, together with a compact object. A compact object can be a white dwarf, a black hole, or a neutron star. So you might heard about the black hole when nothing can escape there. So here what happened is that when a normal star evolved to become what? A red giant, it overflowed its structural weight in such a way that the gas which are in a normal star, it feel a gravitational attraction with what we call a white dwarf. That's where we can find that the gas started to flow from a normal star to a white dwarf, and it will create a disk which is called an accretion disk. So why do we study this? We want to understand the evolution of our system. We have to understand, yes, as a woman being, we also understand, yes, there is a birth, there is also a death. Even in the science of astronomy, there is a birth, there is an evolution of those stars. So what I wanted to see here, what you see, is the plot which is plotted about the absolute magnitude temperature, which is simple means that is the intrinsic brightness of our stars against the spectral type. This star range with different temperatures. So here we have a diagonal where we call it a main sequence. This is the beginning, or where most of the stars spend their life before they say we can evolve or expand to become what? A red giant. Even if when you look at the stars, you can find that they are different in colors. What does that tell us? You can simply mean that when you find that the star that has simple like blue, they are hot or they are bright, actually they are still in the beginning of their life. The one that are colored dim, they will find that they are more likely to be red. So the formula that we have here can simply us to demonstrate us where we can understand we can even understand the distance between our star. We have the L, which is the luminosity of our temperature, equivalent to 4 pi r square, which is the Stefan Boltzmann constant here together with the temperature. So we can rearrange this kind of equation and be able to come up with the radius, to calculate the radius of our star. And also this can be done when they are comparing the two stars which are in the same temperature, but the thing that might be different might be their distance. So as Harry said, Meerkat is doing the most of science here in South Africa. What we need you youngsters, we need you. As you can see, I'm the only student and I can't be able to do this by myself. All I request the director, Uri, can you please at least do something about this as a young student? We need funds. There's a lot of projects that are here that need to be funded. And as our younger generation who are attracted with this kind of science, I will also request the Vice Chancellor of the university to consider this kind of science. We have a lot to solve as youngsters. We need you to be with us on our side. The large project that I'm concentrating on, it's only one, is the Mungus one. So far, Meerkat has 8 projects out there. But for now, just because I'm the only one, we are only focusing on one, which is the Mungus one. What is the Mungus exactly? Mungus is one of the Meerkat neutral hydrogen observing of a nearby galactic object, which is observing in 30 nanometer. It's more like it's focusing, or its target is targeting 30 different galaxies of a what? Star-forming galaxies. So, as you know that we have the telescope. What it does is to process those kind of data that it has, and then computer will have to analyze, you have to convert the kind of data that you have in a form of images. So we use the SARAO, science data processing image, in order to analyze this kind of science. So what it does is that the telescope will gather the whatever frequency wave that it has, and then it converts it in a form of image in such a way that we can be able to understand the science. That's why we can be able to understand the formation, the evolution of the stars and the galaxies. It's a quite big challenging thing to do, but nowadays things are more like simpler. We have technology. We deal with the different kind of way where we can analyze data. That's where computer came in. Even the last speaker was speaking about the kind of programming language that we have to deal with it, like the Python, Anaconda, C++, and Java. So in order to come out with this and able to understand what is it that we're doing, we have to know about this computer language. So the data that we use, it resides on the Inter-University Institute for Data Intensive Astronomy. So this one is partnership with the University of Cape Town, University of Pretoria, together with the University of Western Cape. As you can see, University of Venda is not here. That's where also I came back to you, the director of the Science and Innovation. We need this here in University of Venda. We are ready to work. All we need is the funds in order to continue with this. Of course, there are so many challenges that I face. I'm only one here. In order to do this, I have to deal with it using the Microsoft team. So I connect with my supervisor and other students from University of Cape Town in order for me to gain an access to this kind of science. So sometimes it's delaying me. You might find that like now we are facing load shedding. We don't have enough time. On my side, maybe we have load shedding, that they are, on the other side, maybe they're fun. But during my time, we find that even time is no more on our side. So I would also like to be happy if we can launch this astronomy at University of Venda and go ahead with their science. I would like the funds to be here. I believe that our Vice Chancellor will speak for us, and this science will go ahead and have our own facility of astronomy here at University of Venda. I would like to I would like to acknowledge my supervisors, Professor Patrick and Professor Maruta, who come up with this kind of science. Like, for me, in order to be here, I remember when I was doing my third day, I was like, I don't know what is it that I'm doing. Like, I was just doing my BSc in mathematics and physics. By then, remember, afterwards, we have to go for the postgrad. By then, likely enough, they were hosting this other nurse program at Northwest University, where I was able to attend. That's where I learned a lot about the space science. And then, by then, I took an advantage to say, oh, at University of Venda, we don't have astronomy. How is it going to start with me? Is it possible to do this? Then that's why I approached Professor Maruta. I engaged with him to say, I need this kind of sense here. We have to bring it home, not to say we have to go out and we end up having nothing here. We have to bring the science here at home, at our own home, so that we can able to work. He was like, are you sure you want to do this? I was like, I'm ready for anything, even though there will be challenges. By then, likely enough, I engaged this with one of the Professor Patrick from University of Cape Town, and then we make a deal to say, yes, in this we are going to have this. I started this at my honors. Unfortunately, we were two of us. By then, when it comes to masters, I'm the only one. The other one is not here with us. So I would also like to thank the Vice Chancellor, the Principal of the University of Venda, Dr. Bernardine Tambireni, for allowing us to engage with this kind of science together with the University management. I would like to acknowledge the Department of Science and Innovation for the funding. Of course, without the fund, this won't be possible. By all thanks to the money that you are giving us, I hope it won't end with me. There will be more. Also, thank the University of London Department of Physics for allowing me to do this kind of science. I'm here because of you. I thank you all.
Thanks very much. I think the message, Professor Fulufelo Nelomondo, is loud and clear. Request, and I can see the teachers and the the lecturers here, Vice Chancellor, are doing very well in teaching kids how to ask, ask confidently and politely. So we've heard the message, and thank you very much. For the work that you're doing in this citizen science in the Meerkat, because yes, we've got the dishes in the Northern Cape, we collect the data, lots of data, but it needs to be analyzed. So not only are we analyzing to understand the problems that you talked about in radio astronomy, but you get trained on how to handle data, and that has applications beyond astronomy. So thank you very, very much, Vutu Chilengo. So now we will invite Professor Edwin Madala from the Department of Biochemistry and Microbiology at the university to talk about the identification of newly emerging plant compounds with nutraceutical relevance through a combination of mass spectrometry and computational metabolomics approaches. Prof, thank you.
I feel like a celebrity now. It's funny enough, it's only the ladies who are cheering for me. But I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Program Director. Thank you very much, distinguished guests. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm here to speak about one of the special universities, which is the University of Venda. I regard this university very highly, and no one can convince me otherwise. And it's not because of the salary that I get here, but because we are the best university. Again, I come from a very special faculty, which is very relevant today, which is the Faculty of Science, Engineering, and Agriculture, under the leadership of Professor Natasha Potgieter, who's here. I need to give you special honor because you are in charge of the science in this university. We thank you for that. And now, coming back to the distinguished guests that we have here at the university today, you are at the right place. I'm happy that Professor Nero Mondo, you are here. We need more money. And the DG, same thing goes to you. We need more money. We need money. This university has special people, and then if you are serious about transformation, this is the only university. There's only one white student in this university, one. That means we have overwhelmingly transformed the university. And that student is actually in our department, in our faculty. So, enough with the praising of the university, but now I want to talk about the science. But I'm not going to bore you with the science. I'm going to talk about the science that you love, the science that will scare you, the science which will make you aware of what is happening around you. So I chose to speak about this topic basically because I want to showcase that Univen on its own, without the help of so-called big university, we are doing competitive science, and this is the science that affects all of us. And then here I am now trying to share with you what we have managed to achieve. So I heard the minister speaking about the challenges that are facing the nation, and one of them that he has mentioned is the issue of climate change. So we are heavily involved with that at the University of Venda. The previous lady who spoke here spoke about electromagnetic radiation, talking about the light that comes from the stars and everything. So I want to talk about the light that comes from the sun. The sun, because if you know very well, you are very lucky today, you are here in Venda, it's raining, it's colder, but normally Venda is very hot, as everybody knows. It's because we receive a lot of sun rays. But now, what are these sun rays doing to our plants? We all rely on plants, everybody here. After this program, everybody would want lunch, isn't it? We're gonna have to eat pap. We're gonna eat meat. Whatever meat you're gonna eat, that cow has been fed using plant. So we cannot survive without plants. Let me tell you what is happening with these plants. Using an infrastructure, a mass spectrometry infrastructure that we have at University of Venda, and we are the only university in South Africa that has this kind of instrumentation. But again, we need more. We need more, and must emphasize that. So I'm not going to bore you with this title. Whatever I said, I was just trying to summarize that title. So why do we need plants? We need plants, as I've already said, we eat plants daily as source of food. So the ladies, you need plants where you get your cosmetic, you all look beautiful because you put some lotion in your face, and that lotion comes from plants. Some of us, we require plants because it's source of medication, the medicine that we take in the morning, some of them come from plants. So that means we cannot survive without plant. However, these plants are not producing all this chemical for the sake of feeding human beings. They produce these chemicals in order to protect themselves from the harsh environment where they find themselves. These plants experiences a lot of stress, could be from pathogen, could be from air pollution, could be from extreme temperatures, could be extreme light, sunlight that comes from the sun. Plants have to find ways in order to survive under these conditions. So now, we human beings, however, when it's too hot here in Venda, we run under the shades. Some can carry the umbrellas. We can put on lotions that can protect our skin against sunlight. But if we speak about climate change, you will notice that some of the notable consequences of climate change are things that you can see and feel. For instance, during our winters, we are receiving a lot of rainfalls. 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, we saw snow in Johannesburg. Some areas are experiencing drought. We have unpredictable weather patterns. These are things that we can see. However, there are things that are happening behind our back which we cannot see. And this is the purpose of our research here at University of Venda, where we want to showcase to you that plants, because of climatic change events, are undergoing changes, and these changes are resulting in some detrimental effects that can have some consequences when we move forward eating these particular plants. So I will showcase some of our findings quickly so that you can see what is going on. I'm not going to go to details because I don't want to bore you with the deep science. So we have proven beyond reasonable doubt through some publications. We have put so many publications out showing that indeed through this infrastructure that I spoke about, huge instrument that we have in our building there, that indeed these plants are undergoing chemical change, and we have shown that the light, the UV light from sunlight is causing the plant to undergo a change. When you eat food or when you eat or when you drink a plant-derived beverage, what you are doing is that you are eating it or drinking it for its nutrients. These are the chemicals that I'm talking about that are undergoing a change. And we have proven that. Here's some evidence, but this is just a scientific evidence which you cannot see what is happening there. But even as scientists, visually, we couldn't tell whether if the changes were taking place or not. Then we needed some statistician to look into our data in order to prove that indeed there's a difference between a plant that has been exposed to sunlight and a plant that was not exposed to sunlight. And the statistician revealed that differences, and we can distinguish between these two plants. And when we dig deeper, what is causing the plant, or what the light is causing inside the plant, we found that there are very important metabolites or chemicals that are undergoing change. These are metabolites that we need as human beings as nutrients. That's why so many of you, I won't ask how many of you take medication in the morning. However, most of us, even though we eat these plants, we eat proper food, we still need supplements, isn't it? Because our plants are losing nutrients. And they're losing nutrients basically not because of genetically modified modification that people speak about, but also because of climate change. And these chemicals that are so important, we do see them undergoing a change. As you can notice here, one of the metabolites, important metabolites that is found in the plant that we investigated, decreased significantly after we expose the plant to light. Some metabolites increase. So there's unpredictable pattern which is happening due to the exposure of these plants to sunlight. Then we decided to use a plant, very specialized plants that are found in this area. They are found all over the country, but they are very prevalent in this area. These are plants that do not grow on soil. Have you seen plants that do not grow in soil? Anyone? There are plants which don't grow in soil that grows on top of other plants. These are called parasitic plants. Vendor people do use parasitic plants. Remember, it grows on top of another plant. That means it's married to that particular plant. So vendor people actually use it to strengthen their marriage. When you have a wife and you don't want your wife to leave you, Now I'm revealing secrets here. If you have a wife and or your partner, you don't want that partner to leave you, you can feed them this plant, and then they will remain with you for the rest of your life. If that's what you want, I can advise you further on that. So these plants are called the mistletoe plants. As you can see from the pictures, there they are. They grow on top of another plant, and they cannot survive without their host. And basically, because they grow on top of another plant, there's nothing shading them against sunlight. That these are the plants that receive the most sunlight because there's nothing to shade them. So we use them as a model to understand how do they survive this excessive sunlight if they're suspended on top of other plants. We did again some studies using our equipment, and we found that they produce a lot of compounds that have light-absorbing properties. These chemicals allow these plants or help these plants to survive excessive light. And these chemicals undergo dramatic change. As you can see in one of the figures on the right-hand side, there is some compounds there that are showing some changes, and those are indicated in green color. Those are the ones that underwent change. And the problem is the change is there. Now that the change is there, the next question is, what is the biological consequences of this change? Is there an effect? If you eat such a plant that has underwent such a change, is there an effect? And the answer is yes, there is an effect. And this effect, we are still investigating it, but our preliminary results are showing that these compounds, instead of doing what the natural compound should be doing, they have other effects other than what this plant is intended. Remember, we're talking about things that you cannot see, you cannot feel. If I now tell you that orange juice is no longer orange juice like it used to be, you won't believe me. Why? Because when you drink orange juice, it still tastes like orange juice. When you smell it, it still smells like orange juice. But these are changes that are happening at the chemistry level and requires instrumentation like the one I said we have here. We require data scientists, statisticians, mathematicians to come together with us to point these changes so that we can bring it to you. So I've given an example of plant that is used to treat diabetes here. And we can see that this newly formed compound, using a Venn diagram, it is now starting to have a target of its own, meaning that the function of the plant has completely changed. That means if you were to go to a traditional healer and they give you a certain plant to do something, now that plant is no longer doing it because it has underwent a change. But the traditional healer, because they don't have an instrument like mine, wouldn't know. And they're not mathematicians, they wouldn't know. But I'm here to tell anyone who's sitting here that due to climate change, the food, the drinks, everything that we used to rely on in terms of nutrients is changing, and these changes, according to me and my observation, some of them are good, some of them they're bad. And it requires scientists like myself to sort of pinpoint and explain them in the way that I did today to you. So I'm going to conclude in this way. So here's the takeaway message. The takeaway message is that indeed, according to the evidence that we have, climate change is causing change in plants, which therefore means there's differences in the chemical composition of plants growing in regions of different light, which therefore means the nutrients in these plants are changing due to climate change. What is the solution? The solution is that we, the scientists, remember we are very confusing people, we need to come to the ground and meet with people and advise them. For instance, we had a PhD student who's just completed now. She was investigating on how can we improve the quality of a tea called a bush tea, and how do we improve its quality or retain its quality. And she then decided that whoever is going to plant that particular plant should grow it under the shade. So imagine if you have hectares and hectares of land where you're farming a plant and you have to put a shade on top. This is where we are going, people, because of climate change. And climate change is not something that God is punishing us through, it's us. Whatever activities that we do on earth, these cars that we are driving around emitting gases, the industries that are there that are emitting gases, is us causing climate change. And then the consequences are that in the future there will be no food. Or the food will be there as you still enjoy it, but it won't give you any form of nutrients. And this is the scary part. So we need to come together with these other people to help. Lastly, some of these newly formed compounds are important because we can use them as drug leads to develop new drugs that we can use to treat other diseases that this time around we cannot treat. For instance, my colleague, Professor Besong, is going to come after me, and he will tell you about a pandemic that is facing us that is coming in the future. COVID was nothing to this. The pandemic that is coming, it is on antimicrobial resistance or antibiotic resistance. When you go to the doctor, when you are suffering from a certain disease, they give you antibiotics to control that particular pathogen infection, and the antibiotic does not work. What are you going to do? This is the new pandemic that we are facing. But plants can offer an alternative, And we are here to showcase that our results are also showing that these newly formed compounds can be used to treat or control this bacterial infection. My last slide, it is one of the groundbreaking research that we participated in as University of Venda. The work was submitted yesterday for those who are scientists, to Nature journal. So now I need to tell you that this new method that we developed or we participated on, it is going to use similar equipment like we have to diagnose people who are infected by either bacteria or fungi. We participated in the creation of a database together with the University in San Diego. We created a database that allows us to identify over 60,000 bacteria or fungi. That means in the future, if you go to Chirizini Hospital, you will have to find a mass spectrometrist. A mass spectrometrist is someone like myself who will take your blood, run it on that instrument, and we can help the medical doctor on giving them a prognosis to say, this person is also infected by this bacteria, this is a type of medication you should give them. So this will be aided by this database that we helped in creation. This again shows you that this university is not just one of those universities, it's the best university. And I want to tell this to the learners. We know many learners, when grade 12 results comes out, we are not the first choice, you know. You apply to VETS, you apply to UCT, you apply to UWC, and when they reject you, you come and queue in our gate there. So we want to tell you that we produce the best here. You just saw the astrophysicist here, is it? The young lady who spoke here first, I always meet her in our building at night, interacting with the scholars here, Professor Baruta and all those people, helping her to become what you see in her. She won the best science Olympiad in the province. She went national. Who's helping her? University of Venda. So this university, you know, this university, I don't know, man, you know. Hi, no. This is the, we went all over. We went all over. We are from Germany, we are from Netherlands, we are from England. We studied there. But we came back here. Why? This is the best university. So I want to ask everybody here, tell someone whom you are seated next to, says we are at the best university.
Mr. Vice Chancellor, I can really see you doing a good job in getting this platform. There's a marketing platform for the work that is being done here. I suspect we may not remember everything about the emerging plant compounds and what they do to the nutraceutical relevance of our food and to ourselves. But I think we will remember the role of these plants in keeping marriages. I suspect that's the only thing that we'll probably remember. So I'm happy to invite the penultimate speaker, Professor Pascal Obong-Besong, who is the director of the SAR MRC Univen Unit on HIV and AIDS. As it has already been said, he's looking at mitigating antimicrobial resistance and the role of communities.
I'm trying to pull all my slides. A moment, please.
Just close that one.
I think we should close this one as well.
They had something this one?
Yeah. Okay, Program Director, well, thanks to everyone to come in. I think it's a pleasure. This is my first time giving a talk at the National Science Week, and I think it's really a great event. I want to thank the Minister and the Honorable Dr. Blaise Mande in Ascensia, but I guess perhaps he's somewhere listening, perhaps. And Dr. Bernard Tambeleni, Vice Chancellor and Principal, I want to acknowledge your presence, and my Dean, Professor Potgieter, and all the other distinguished guests. We are very pleased that we are all here. I'm the last speaker, but I think, well, we are all still here, which means a great day for all of us. So I think it's something to be proud of. Mr. Program Director, in 2016, heads of states, as well as governments, on the floor of the United Nations General Assembly affirmed to make sure that they deal with antimicrobial resistance. And subsequent to that, every country that was part of that affirmation has to set up protocols and to deal with antimicrobial resistance. And the question which we always ask ourselves is, what is this? What is antimicrobial resistance? And how does that actually have to do with me? Assuming I'm not a medical doctor, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a researcher, what has that got to do with me? What I'm going to speak to today is how all of us have to be part as a community on how we make efforts and to mitigate the very deleterious effects of antimicrobial resistance. My colleague who left here, well, actually introduced my talk for me, so I'm going to skip those few lines. But the whole idea is that we live with microbes. They are on our bodies, inside us, in the environment, in the food we eat. And some of these microbes are going to infect us and cause disease. And this will call them germs. And when they cause disease, perhaps we may not be able to have cure for them because they have developed ways and means and to overcome those antimicrobial agents. And the issue is, are we going all the time to always chase and the microbes that are actually resisting the treatment? How do we try to be a step ahead? What are some of the mitigating factors that we can put in place? Of course, in terms of the prescription and usage, we can be very judicious about that. But as a natural event, every microbe we try to overcome an agent made against it. And that is something which we are going to live with. But today, I would like to say one key point that we need to understand is that we do not have the community with us in the fight against antimicrobial resistance. And that is one of the things that our units at the University of Vienna, with core funding from the South African Medical Research Council, and also support from the NRF, is trying to lead in this aspect in bringing the community on board on how we find solutions jointly. And the community usage, as well as its involvement, is very important because if you take your mind back to COVID, a few months ago, there was a lot of conspiracy theories when COVID hit us. And I think, in my view, I think it was because of a lack of trust in science. So we stay back, and scientists prepare something and bring it to us, and we ask the question, what is this? I can't take that. It will change my DNA. And during COVID, we all become experts of virology and genomics, as well as treatment, because everybody has something to say about it. But I think if we all move together as a community, we really need to be able to say we have that trust together as scientists. And I think that falls actually squarely within the National Science Week, which is for everyone and the whole community. The impact of science and what science does to improve our lives. And so the unit that we have, we're not showing on the slide, is actually partnering with a few other colleagues in different universities. But more importantly, I'm going to spare you the science in terms of the biology, in terms of the genomics, in terms of the bioinformatics. But I would like to speak to you in one of the strategic goals of our group is how we bring in the community as co-producers of that knowledge. Because we think when that knowledge is produced, it's going to be received very, very well. Because the community is no more a place where you go and take things out, but they become co-investigators, co-researchers in getting solutions to solve the problem that are really facing us. So in that regard, and the community also is a diverse place in terms of its own ethnography, the customs and the practices and the habits. How do you bring all of that into place to make sure data that you get is actually speaking across the whole board? And the slide that you see on the screen is actually one of the community Zimauri, which we have worked with them for a few years. And we need to set up, which we have done, a community advisory board, as partners in this movement, in trying to get aspects of solutions that will, in a way, join with the biomedical aspects of laboratory experimentation and to have solutions that are really specific for the different communities. Now, of course, this takes a lot of engagement and mobilization. How do you bring people on board? And so you have several meetings and sessions, and such that people begin to understand and also start to inform your own research questions and the things that they also need and to solve the problem that they have. I'm not sure if anyone knows here how do you call antimicrobial resistance in Chivenda? So those type of vocabulary are going to come out, and through that engagement. We're going to create our own new words, such that when we produce the packages, in terms of education packages, they have a relevance in the communities in which we do our work. Of course, in terms of working with the different clinical partners and the local authorities of the health department and social provider department, that is also important. But at the same time, as an entity of a university, the idea of building leadership in antimicrobial resistance is very central. I'm here today, tomorrow, I may not be here tomorrow. I'm one person, in fact, we need more of me and more of others. And so, in that regard, we need to make sure that, and the capacity is really developed. And that capacity developed not just on bench work in the lab, but also work with the communities. Because that is a different type of science and arts. How do you engage? How do you mobilize? How do you walk the walk with the people that you live with? So, and the students that have been trained, there are also new technologies coming up every day. How do they meet up with those technologies? My colleagues here have already talked about, please help us on this, help us on this, help us on this. But these are the things that we keep on going, because the more refined we are in the data set that we generate, the more better the solutions that we can produce. And of course, and this training has to be in-depth, has to be extensive, has to be well-focused, and such that when the student leaves, that student is well-rounded in that particular discipline. The science is for the society. And our science cannot remain in our journals, in our articles to publish. I become a professor by publishing, so what? That is for me. And for the others, what do they have? What do they take home with? So we have to be very oblivious of that. In terms of training on the scientific aspects, that scientific training has to also be complemented with things of ethics and responsible conduct of research. And the ethics that you actually apply in the community is much more diverse and very dynamic, because you meet things in terms of respect of community, respect of persons, in terms of what the community sees itself as a person, because each community member relies on the community, and there's that interrelatedness, interconnectivity, and they come as a different person and bring up new ethical issues that the scientist or the researcher also has to be aware of. And those things will come in when you have the appropriate training in terms of ethics and community development. So, I mentioned earlier on that our science is for society. But this society also is not a unique society. It's diverse and different layers and strata. So we need to have engagements. We've seen the first two speakers today were very edifying in their talk, in their own part of growing in science, what they have done so far. But we need to have that as an intentional activity. How do we bring people from the secondary school on board science intentionally, well-focused, not just by chance, that you have one student just, well, like a bulb and so bright. And the others, where are they? So, and the unit at Univen is making sure that that type of activity is also well-focused, such that it is structured and the themes are well-crafted, and the students actually have a very important day whenever they come to the lab or they come to the facility and to have an idea what is actually going on. It's also important to know that even at the secondary school level, there are different levels of students. You know, those in grades 1 to 5 perhaps, those in 9, 10, and 11, and they come with different cognitive capacities. How do you accommodate all of that? And you just depend on the curiosity and take the ones that are very bold, what of those that are very shy, and they feel like they are weak. So you have to look for ways and means to also get that properly instituted. Going with the community is one of the ways of going far. I'm sure you are all aware of this proverb. If you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. And you can't go together without the community. So the community will make you go far. And the science is for the community, and they cannot be left behind. And when we do that, in terms of putting all what is in place, then we begin to move beyond the idea of equality and begin to address the issues of equity that are really, really important. I'm sure you see that diagram. I'm sure you've seen it somewhere else. But if you look to your far right, and the small boy on the left could not enjoy the game. They all have the same pedestals to stand on. But the big guy does not need that pedestal to stand on. So I take it from him, I give it to the small guy. And the small guy now stands on that pedestal and is now enjoying the game as well. So that is equity. And that is something which our science needs to be really thinking about. And bringing the community on board is actually to build that access and the equity. Now, in terms of antimicrobial resistance, it's been shown that those people who live in communities of low socioeconomic studies have the highest brunt of antimicrobial resistance because they cannot afford alternative treatments. Those who are richer can afford it much, much better than them. So, and they get poorer and poorer, and they have more illness, and they die more. But these are people of our community. So, and to begin to tackle this problem, we must move together. And as Madela mentioned, it's a silent pandemic. It's been there all along, and we just dabble with it and roll around with it. But we need to start addressing it because it's coming to a stage whereby most of the drugs that are being used now, even the second-line drugs, are no longer functional, efficacious, as you would expect. One of the studies that we did in a community here, we found kids as young as 4 months old, I repeat, 4 months old, who have never been exposed to antibiotics. In their guts, in their intestines, they have bacteria which code for resistance to a broad range of antibiotics. Where are they getting that from? What will happen to them when they fall ill by one of those germs which don't respond to the treatment? So we need to start looking at that. And for me and my colleagues, we think this is something which is going to explode, if it's not already exploded in small pockets. But we see it only at the clinical level. When I go to the clinics, then somebody is sick and dying. But we come from the community. We get sick, then we go to the hospitals. And so we take the illness from the community to the hospitals. So who else in the clinic, in the hospital, or the community is actually an environment that is transmitting the same type of bacteria through different ways and means, either in schools, in crèches, in meetings, at funerals, what is happening in all of these places. So that is something which we need to talk about. I'm going to end by saying, and the community is not apart from science. Science is for the community. And with that concept in mind, we're always able to relate in terms of our research questions, hypotheses, and to be relevant in what we are really investigating, and to make sure it fits back into ourselves and into the community. So I would like to thank a few national agencies and international agencies which have assisted us, helped us with some funds over the years in our community engagement activities, as well as the science itself. I thank you, Program Director.
Thank you very much. So in these last three presentations, maybe some common messages to take home. The first one is, in my view, they are all living up to the theme of this Science Week, transforming lives through evidence-based science. So thanks to the university and to the three presenters. I think also this idea of citizen science and how you involve communities as part of generating knowledge that help us to have evidence to make decisions, I think has been clearly demonstrated. And then I think for us, Fulu, there is a clear message that has come through from the university and how it approaches its work. And this is something that we have to think about. I suspect, Vice Chancellor, this new mode of doing research, engaging communities, is not as trivial as it is presented here, something that we really have to think about. And I do know that Fulu has been given the responsibility of thinking about this Center for Pandemic Preparedness on both the last two presentations. I think it's something that is a message that we will take going back to Pretoria as part of the instruments of policy to make sure that the NSI continues to receive funding, continues to be responsive to the challenges of society, and build the science capability. I've got one last speaker to give a vote of thanks. I'm not so sure whether we should allow him to come and give a vote of thanks, and then the choir will give us one last music to send us out, and then after Professor Jan Ernest Crawford has spoken, I will then indicate to you what the eating arrangements are. So you don't leave here until we have given you something to eat. So a round of applause to Prof.
Thank you very much, Program Director. And may I start my vote of thanks by thanking our Program Director, DG Dr. Phil Mjwacha, for the smooth sailing of us through this program. You really made the look and feel of the program very professional. Thank you for that. To our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Bernard Ntambaleni, thank you very much for your opening address. As you near the end of your first term on such a high note, with the University of Venda hosting National Science Week 2023, we are collectively very grateful that you are starting your second term on such a high note, and that we know we will take this university to even greater heights. To our Executive Mayor of the Vembe District, Councillor Doelani Nenguda, thank you very much, sir, for your message of support to Univen. To our Minister, Dr. Bladen Zimande, although it is in absentia, Minister, we know you're not allowed to have any favorites amongst your universities, but we do know that you have a soft spot for the University of Venda, and you have proved it over the years, and we appreciate that. But we also want to assure you, you mentioned towards the end of your speech, the importance of taking the university and especially the results of our research for implementation in our communities. perhaps just a reminder that the vision of the University of Venda is to be an institution leading in engaged scholarship. And I think the theme that emerged through all the presentations today was one of engagement with our communities. Then to Uyachila Muneniwa, what can I say? I think we would all be a bit speechless if we had to say anything about you. What I do want to say is, men, I think the time of women has come. And it might just be that we are going to be in much better hands in the future. Ms. Muneniwa, thank you very much. You are an inspiration to all of us. And since we are at both extremes of the age spectrum, my take-home message is that age should never be a limiting factor. Thank you. To Ms. Vutu Chilengo, our only astronomy masters, our first and only astronomy masters at Univen, we are extremely proud of you. And I think you are showing the way for many more to come after you. Professor Madala, you are probably our best unofficial ambassador for the University of Venda. I really want to thank you very much for your groundbreaking research and your sharing and your very generous outreach to everybody who is interested and who needs assistance. Thank you for that. Professor Besong, one of the veterans of the struggle, if I can put it that way, to get Univen on the map in terms of its science outputs. Thank you, Prof. Also, once again, for putting us on the map together with colleagues such as Professor Madala through your international collaborations and your groundbreaking and internationally recognized research outputs. Then I think it is extremely important that I also thank the local organizers of the hosting of this event here at Univen. It was, the lead was taken by our Faculty of Science, Engineering and Agriculture under Professor Potgieter. Professor Potgieter, you and your faculty executive, thank you very much, in particular, Professor Eric Maluta. We really appreciate the hard work you put in to get all the exhibitions, especially from Univen side, up and running. And then our leadership of our national departments, DSI, DHET, thank you so much for taking the time and being here in person. Some of you are illustrious alumni of this university. We really appreciate your presence and your support always for the University of Venda. To our traditional leaders, we have almost a full bench of Toveles here. I think your ownership of the University of Venda through the communities that you lead and that we serve is very important to us, and we appreciate your presence and your involvement and your support for the University of Venda. Our local and district authorities that are represented here, I think this event and your presence is also proof that the University of Venda is beginning to live up to its promise and its undertaking to become an anchor institution for the development of the Vembe region. Our Chair of Council, Ntate Junius Legeta, your presence is also noted and much appreciated because I think it is important that our council, to you and other council members that are here, that you also see the role that the University of Venda plays in this community and the recognition that it receives for that. Then all our exhibitors, thank you for taking the time to set up your stalls. To our learners, thank you for being here, for showing your interest in science. To our Vuani Science Resource Center that took over a lot of the arrangements also, and to SASTA, who has so consistently and generously funded the Vuani Science Resource Center. Thank you very much for that. This event would also not have been possible or successful without all the people who were quietly and in the background long before the time and long after the time. Those are our ushers, our photographers, our marshals, and finally, our wonderful Univen choir. You always add value to any occasion at Univen. You rock and we love you. Thank you.
Thanks, Prof. Crawford. I've been asked, as I introduced the choir for this item, that they came number three in the Dr. S.J. Koza competition, a third annual competition. So I'm sure you'll agree with me that listening to them for the last time before we go for lunch is worthwhile for us. Over to you, choir.